Hello, welcome to my channel, Chit Chat and All That. Today we're going to talk about grief and loss. Look, how you experience grief is as unique as your fingerprint. Everyone does it differently. I would like to help you with 4 strategies for healing, or at least beginning that healing process. We will talk about how to celebrate your loved one, remember their life, and how to manage all those feelings that you'll have inside of you. Oftentimes people will tell you to just get over it. You've grieved long enough, move on. But it's simply not that easy. And everyone grieves in their own way and at their own pace. So let's talk about how to move through your grief and deal with those feelings. It's okay to be sad. It's hard when we lose something, whether it's a friendship, relationship, the loss of a loved one. As humans, we all long to be connected with other people. So when we have a loss, we will have a whole host of emotions, one of which is fear. Fear that you somehow won't move on from this. Fear that the pain will never end. Fear that you will forget your loved one. Fear that you will have to move through life alone without them. Look, there's nothing easy about that. You will experience lots of different emotions over and over again. But through time, that pain you feel, I promise it will decrease. It will lessen because you will begin to form a new identity separate from your loved one. But there's no quick fix. Grief can be complicated. It's not just about coping with loss. It's also about coping with change. Now, most people are familiar with the stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. However, grief is a process, not a task, with a list of items that you just check off. You're not going to go through the stages of grief one right after the other. Grief is more like a roller coaster or a whole big bowl of spaghetti. You're going to go through different stages at various times, sometimes throughout a day or a week or even a month. Today you might feel sad, angry, happy, glad, frustrated, all these emotions in one day. The point is, everyone experiences grief in their own way. So how do you go about beginning the healing process? That is what we're going to talk about today. It starts with accepting your emotions and making sure you're allowing yourself the chance to feel and express those emotions. It's normal to feel just about everything, even if it feels overwhelming and confusing. Most times, people try to lock their pain away, but it doesn't go away. It's always there, waiting for you, just around the corner. Let me tell you a story. When I was a young person, my mother passed away. I was in college and moving through life and all that, and I didn't take the proper time to grieve. I just kept moving. Got to go to school, got to get a job, blah, blah, blah. Well, one day, years later, I was interviewing a young lady, and she told her life story, which mimicked mine like a T, right? By the time I got home, I had lost my mind completely. All of that emotion, she just triggered me out of nowhere. And I began grieving for my mother, which I had tried to avoid all those years. Girl, I ended up in counseling. I thought I was about to lose my mind. So you see, trying to deal with it and avoid dealing with it in the moment doesn't erase the pain. You only postpone it. Learn from me, because I tried things the hard way. You can't push past it and think you're just going to go through it and move on through your life. It doesn't work that way. It will come greet you again. Some ways to help you deal with all those feelings are writing in a journal, through art or another form of expression. It's also important for you to try to do the things that brought you joy before all of this happened, so depression doesn't sit in too deeply. Make an effort to take care of yourself. Get a shower, get some rest, make sure you're eating regularly. It's what your loved one would have wanted. Now, on a normal day, all those kind of things would be very easy, but today is not a normal day. You're hurting, and it's all right. It won't be easy to pull yourself up and do those things, but it is necessary. So you have to make an effort. The second thing that's important for you is to establish some companionship. You got to have some companionship. Having people around you during this time is absolutely crucial. I know that you probably want to cover your head with the covers and be all by yourself. But it's important that you surround yourself with people. This can be a family member, a friend, or it could be a mental health professional. Now, there will be some well-meaning people who will try to encourage you to just get over it because they feel like you've grieved long enough. And it's just simply not that easy, is it? So have the right people around you. Those people that will be willing to just be there to listen and sit with you inside your pain and wait for you to tell them what will happen next. Look, just reach out to somebody. Sometimes the act of just talking out loud about your feelings can be incredibly helpful. The third thing is find yourself an outlet. These feelings aren't going to go away immediately, and they're not going to go away on their own. So you're going to have to find a way to channel them, especially if you're not someone who feels comfortable talking right away about your grief. I want you to do something. I want you to imagine a big ball in a box with a pain button on the side. The ball is your grief, and that ball is really big. So when it moves around, there's no room, and it keeps hitting that pain button over and over again, and you feel bad all the time. But over time, as you deal with some of these emotions, that ball will get smaller and smaller, and it will move more freely around the box, and it won't hit the pain button quite as frequently. That, my dear, is how grief works, and how it comes to hurt you less and less, and you'll feel better and better. But you've got to do the work. Start a journal. Make music, dance, exercise. Find things to help you release some of that energy. Depending on your loved one that passed away, perhaps you could set up something in their honor, start a support group for those who have the same kind of loss that you have experienced, or become an active member of an organization that supports the cause that's related to your loved one. The fourth thing that's helpful with healing is to create a ritual that you can have to honor them. For example, if your loved one enjoyed a tea in the evening, maybe you start having tea in the evenings to honor them. If they watched a certain show, maybe you watch that show in their honor. Then maybe get a notebook and write about that show as if you are talking to your loved one that has passed. And you want to make sure that they don't miss not any details of this show. Or you could visit a place that they always wanted to go to but didn't have the chance to go. The reality is, you will not get over the loss of a loved one. You simply learn to live with it. You will heal and rebuild around it. Just try to be the things that you love the most about that person that you lost. And then you will end up being better just simply because they existed. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I'll see you next Thursday.